Hey there, Salt Strong family. This is Pat Ogletree, and I hope this finds you all happy, healthy, and safe. In this video, I wanted to share with you a tip that I use to modify my topwater lures to help in certain situations. This is the lure that I'm going to work with today. This is the Moonwalker, as we all know it. It's your standard cigar-shaped walk the dog type lure. And it's just like the Super Spook Junior, the Rebel Jumping Minnow, or Mirror makes a top dog that's just like this. The idea behind this lure is it works from side to side, making a clicking sound, and that helps attract the fish. Now, out of the box, this comes with symmetrical hooks. As you can tell, it's got the same size hooks front and rear. These are owner 1/0 inline hooks. Now, the modification that I do, this is the same exact lure, is I will add a larger hook on the rear. This one's a 2/0 and it's a 3x wire, meaning it's a larger wire than the standard hook, so it's heavier. And then I'll also add a larger split ring in the back. The idea behind this is you want to get the back of that lure to sit a little bit lower in the water. The advantage of this, instead of it sitting level, is when you're working that bait and you're twitching it, you can twitch it a little bit harder that way. And the advantage of that is whenever you're dealing with a situation and you're dealing with a lot of wind or you're dealing with a lot of bait fish, meaning it's choppy out there or you've got so much bait fish out there, it's just hard for the fish to single out your lure amongst all that noise. That's when that larger hook in the rear with the rear sitting lower and you working it harder is an advantage, because it will splash more and it will actually make more noise too, and that'll help the fish find your lure. Now, I went out and I recorded a video and I wanted to kind of show you exactly what I'm talking about. So in this video, this first shot is the Moonwalker with the same size hooks front and rear. This is the owner 1/0 hook on the front and on the rear. Now, as you can notice with the lure, as it's working back and forth, what happens is the front of it dives down a little bit underneath the water, and it's almost a subsurface walk the dog. It doesn't throw a lot of water, and it just works side to side. Here's a better shot of it. You can see it closer. As you can tell, there's not much splash on the lure, and it works back and forth side to side a little bit under the water. Now, this is exactly what you want in most of the situations. I'm not saying this is wrong. Now, the advantage to what having the heavier hook in the back does, as you can tell from Go, that the lure actually splashes more and on every single twitch back and forth than it does with the same size hooks. The biggest advantage of this is not only are you getting the splash, but it also makes a sound. It sounds like a gulp or a slurp or something like that, and it mimics the sound of feeding fish. Now, larger predator fish cannot stand the idea of something else feeding in their area without them seeing it, so they're going to go investigate this. It really works in those situations where there's a ton of bait fish around. Now, here's a side-by-side shot of what they look like. The one on the right is the staggered hooks with the larger one on the rear. The one on the left is the same size of hooks. And as you can tell, the one on the right definitely throws more water than the one on the left. Now, here's how I work the lure. This is how I'm working the lure with the same size hooks front and rear. As you can tell, it's a gentle twitch. This is your standard retrieve that you're going to do most of the time. Any more than this, you'll actually start pulling the lure out of the water and it's not going to look natural. Now, this is how I'm working it when it's got the heavier hook in the rear. As you can tell, it's definitely more aggressive and it's a harder twitch. This is how you're able to get that splash and get that extra sound out of it. This is what you want to do when it's windy, when there's a lot of bait around, and you want to attract that attention to it. If you notice the wrist action, it's definitely harder twitches with this lure than it is with the other lure. Now, as far as the hardware goes, my favorite hooks to use, I love the owner hooks and I love the Mustad hooks. I've tried the VMCs. The problem with the VMCs is they're nice out of the box, but they seem to rust quicker than the other two, so the value goes to the actual more expensive owner and the Mustad hooks. I do like the owner hyper rings. I use a number 5 ring on the back with a 2/0 hook, and that will get just the angle that I need to be able to work it like this. Now, you know, just numbers here. What I found is 0.2 of a gram difference will make the lure sit the way that you want it. This hook is 0.7 of a gram. The owner is 5/10 of a gram, so this is 2/10 heavier, but that split shot adds another 1/10. So this whole setup right here is 3/10 of a gram heavier than this, and that's just enough to make that lure sit the way that it needs to sit to impart that action. Now, I'm not saying that this, again, this is not the type of setup that you're going to throw in every single situation. Matter of fact, it can actually be detrimental in shallower water, clear water, calmer conditions. You actually want a lure that's just a little bit more subtle. Anything that makes a lot of splashing and a lot of noise can spook the fish off. That's when you want to go with the symmetrical one, the ones with the same size hook front and rear. That way you can actually work it with a little bit more finesse. You're not working it super hard. But again, when the wind is up, when there's a lot of bait fish, you need to attract the fish to your lure. That's when you go with a staggered setup. So I hope you learned something from this. I hope you can use it on your next trip. And I'd like to know on your comments below, is this something that you would like to try? You don't think it'll make a difference? It's fine. You're not going to hurt my feelings. Let me know in the comments below. And I appreciate you watching the video. Thanks a lot. And until next time, we'll see you. Thanks and bye.